Good morning, afternoon, evening everyone, my name is ShockWavee and today I'm going to be doing a tips and tricks tutorial for beginners for Splatoon 2. Alright, so basically this will be a quick 3-step guide, with the first one being weapon choice, the second one will be how to practice your aim, and the third one will be just some tips on some of the rank modes. So let's get started with number 1. I recommend everyone trying out all the weapon types at least, like shooters, and then blasters, rollers, brushes, chargers, slushes, splatlings, all the dualies, umbrellas, all them, to see what you like the best. Whether you like to be support, aggressive. For me, I like to play aggressive, mainly a slaying role, so I will go with like a 52 gal, which is like a 2-shot kill. So when you're choosing a weapon, just say you've chosen one. Just say, yeah, I want to be a support role with a charger, for instance. Just say you like any of the chargers. The next thing you want to consider is the sub and special weapon, obviously. Different modes are better with different kits. So just say you like the 5-fin. One would be better than the other in a different mode. Like the 5-fin would be better in splat zones because it has the bomb rush. The normal splat charger would be better in like the tower control or like the Rainmaker or any of those. Also, just to let you guys know, you don't have to stick with the same weapon. That's what most people probably get caught in. It's like, yes, I have to use this weapon for every single mode to get good with it. You can be good with multiple weapons. I know a lot of people I play against are really hard to come up against because they use different weapons. You don't know what they're going to be like because you haven't versed them as often and they've practiced with it a lot. So they might come out one round with like a roller, and then the next round with a blaster, and next round with a shooter, and next round with a umbrella or something. So it's good to mix things up, just figure out what best suits you in the mode and especially the map. Like, even though it might be like splat zones, I might not like a certain type of weapon for that map, so I might have to change it up and use a weapon I like for that map and mode. What I did just for basic starting off, like as you can probably tell, I'm using motion controls. And also one thing just to tell you guys, with motion controls, you're not fully moving everywhere with motion controls. You can use the right stick. You're not just limited to just that. Like just subtle movements, and then I use the right stick, as you probably saw there. Like just once I'm finished that, I'll like go like that, just so it's quicker. And then also, if you're trying to do like a 180 and start shooting someone, you're like that with the controller. And if you need to keep going, you're going to be like this and this and this and this, and you're going to get all stuck, and you're not going to be able to shoot. What I'm trying to say is you're not limited to just using motion controls. You can use your right stick just to do general looking around. What I started to do with motion controls is focus on this dummy here. You start at this corner, and then flick onto the target. Flick, 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 and then you can just go like from here, bang, bang. That's just basic starting off stuff. And then once you get better at that and you're getting consistent with that, you can start doing like most of the targets like that. Like just focus starting in one direction, then flicking and shooting, flicking and shooting, flicking and shooting, flicking and shooting. And then even if you're not using a shooter, you can do that with pretty much every weapon. Like a blaster, flick. I don't use blasters that often, so I'm not used to. And it's good to practice with the weapons you like to use. Like if you like to use a blaster, practice with this because the aiming reticle on your screen is so small for blasters, for instance. And when you're in the one-on-one battles, then they're not going to be moving too much, too heavily. They're just going to be doing like small movements like this. So if you can just get directs while you're moving, and then that will come naturally in game to get directs while they're moving, and like predicting where they're going to be going. And like for rollers that will work, and then flicking, flick. If you are a brush main, just a heads up, it's better to ambush from a higher point, so then you can, it just makes the kill much quicker and better. Even just swimming up and getting as close as you can to them. Charges, same thing. for splatlings and charges as well, starting off from like behind the wall, charging up, and then you can like peek out and shoot. Otherwise, if you just do it here, oh yeah, I see that guy there, he's rushing me, I'll just stand here, start charging, dead. So if you see this guy here is trying to push you, like trying to rush you, get behind a wall, and you most likely pop out here in this general area, and then you can just bang, shoot. Alright, now for just some general tips about all the ranked modes I'll get into. If you're trying to get to say from like a C or B to an A, I'll give you guys some tips on those. First of all, we'll go with RAINMAKER. So what you want to try and do is at the start, if your team isn't rushing to get the pop of the RAINMAKER, don't try and do it by yourself, because most likely the other team, 2 or 3, will be going for it, and if you're too close to it, like if your weapon doesn't have enough range, you'll most likely die, because you're trying to pop it by yourself and everyone else is just doing their own thing. Almost never take the RAINMAKER. Always try and make a path for your teammates. This is because no one else will do that job, so if you do that job, it'll make it much easier for the person carrying the RAINMAKER, unless you've realized like 2 or 3 minutes into the game that your team are too stagnant with the RAINMAKER and not confident enough to trust you in your path making skills, we'll say. If that's the case, take it yourself and just hope for the best, I guess. I normally just try and make the path with my teammates. It works better, especially because I'm an aggressive weapon. But if you're a support weapon, probably take the RAINMAKER most of the time, because then your aggressive players can push forward and create that path for you. So that's for RAINMAKER. We'll go to tower control next. So tower control, you kind of want to sit on the tower most of the time, especially in solo queue, as most players won't tend to ride the tower. Or if they are riding the tower and you find that out within the first minute or two, like they're really eager to get on the tower, try and push ahead. If you're a support player, try and stand next to or around the tower, I should say, and help your teammates out as well. The more people you have on the tower, the faster the tower will go. So if it's basically a team wipe on the other team, or 2 or 3 are down, jump on the tower with them for a little bit until the other team respawns, because the tower will go faster. And that means more points on the board, more likely for your team to get a KO, or the closer you'll be to getting a KO. At the start, don't jump on the tower if you're more players down, or even the same amount of people alive on each team. There's no point, because they know where at least one person is. So if you're on the tower, they're going to know you're on the tower, because they can see the little squid icon at the top moving. So they know someone's going to be in that tiny area of the tower, so they can just have 2 or 3 people shooting at it at once. We'll go to splat zones. So I'll just start off with if you're in possession of the zone. What you want to do, you don't want to just sit in the zone and do nothing once you've capped the zone and the time's ticking down. You want to paint around the zone and push forward. This what this does is makes the contest out of the zone. So if you're 1v1ing in the zone, you're both painting the zone, both teams. So it could go to neutral, which will stop your timer ticking down, and also if you die in the zone, you let out the opposition's ink, so that will cover half or at least 1/3 of the zone, which will almost put it into neutral. So try and get the fights or the battles out of the zone. So try and paint around the zone, have as much map control as possible, even though it's not turf war. Map control is still a huge thing in all the ranked modes, especially in splat zones, because it's basically a mini turf war. So if you're 2 players down, if it's a 2v4 situation, try and hold the zone as much as you can, and especially if they're coming in individually. Even though you're 2 players down, you should be able to take them out with your teammate 1 by 1, if they're coming in 1 by 1. And this leads me on to, if your team gets wiped and gets like, the team get 1 kill and then a couple seconds later gets another one, and then your respawns will be like blocked up. If you go in individually, especially in solo queue, you're just going to die and you're not going to get the zone back, because you're just going to be consistently dying 1 by 1, and you're going to be going in obviously 1 by 1. this happens a lot in C and B ranks. So what I tend to do, if I'm the first one to die on my team, I will try and turf up the base, get your specials, and then unleash them on the other team. And this leads me on to the last mode, which is CLAM BLITZ, which is probably the most team-based mode in all of Splatoon 2, I think, at least. It requires a lot of communication, especially with throwing your clams to each other to create a power clam. And what you want to do in B, like C and B rank to get to A rank, this will help out a lot, is pass your clams to your teammates, because they will most likely not do that. Otherwise, there will basically be no power clam created throughout the whole match if no one is passing clams around. And if you don't know, it's A to pass the clams to each other. What you want to do, you want to use your specials and go on as a team, like I mentioned before. Especially in CLAM BLITZ, bubbles are probably the most popular specials to use when pushing in. And also, if you're pushing by yourself, you're very unlikely to score at all. What's going to happen is you're going to push in, you're going to die, someone else is going to realize, oh, he's pushing in, we'll try push in with him. They're going to die individually. So what you want to do, you want to wait for your teammates. Even using this way can help out a huge amount in solo queue. And when you're pushing, make sure you have a power clam ready as well. I've seen lots of times where teams push in and they only have like 6 or 7 clams all together with their whole team. And that's not enough to make a power clam. You need 10 clams to make a power clam. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any comments or questions you have to ask me, please comment them down below. Please like and button mash that subscribe button, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.